All right, welcome everyone for our last call after show with my guests Scott Silberstein and Mark Larson. If you watch the main show, we just got kind of into a nice crescendo point, and I threw out a quote by Stephen R Covey. And the quote is this: most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. And that came about by kind of an organic sense of watching my two guests here interact with each other. And Scott Silberstein was talking about a theater experience of when some of the best behaved, politest people are after a theater show in the garage, and they're all very nice. And I was snarky and interjected, clearly that's not the way that it works at an orchestra concert, because they're stepping all over each other to be the first ones out and leaving while the applause is going on and the rest of it. And to me, that thought came to mind of people who go traditionally to orchestra and opera concerts are very much there with the intent to reply. They have their job. They know what they want to do. This is the structure. And in other art forms, it doesn't necessarily work that way. And so when it comes to arts organizations changing their narrative in this new world, this is one area that I truly hope they're going to be able to make more progress in than not. So I'm going to throw that out as kind of an idea grenade and let the two of you absorb it and come back with something.
I think what's fascinating about, because my gut tells me that if that's the case, then it has a lot more to do with specific individuals or specific ideas and specific companies in the here and now conveying some. I mean, there's almost got to be an agreement for that to happen. I mean, look, there are plenty of theater companies that are there, whose artistic directors and executive directors and boards of directors are there to tell you what they know and how smart they are, and aren't you lucky to be here? That absolutely happens. I think, Mark and I are lucky enough to be living and breathing and working in a city whose theater world is essentially, its DNA it comes from the ethics of ensemble and improvisation, where it is very collaborative and story above all, ensemble above all. And it's not that we don't bump into egos every now and then. We certainly do. But generally speaking, that's the agreement. There are other, whether it's other cities or other genres, where that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's the people responsible for marketing them who just assume that, this person's not going to get it. We talk about this, I do a lot of work in the Broadway world. Well, let me put it this way. I'm a straight white American guy, which means I'm the last person that people market the arts to. Now, why is that exactly? Great stories, cool people, amazing. Like, why is that? Well, someone has kind of decided at a certain point, when everything got very data-driven and market-driven, well, we're seeing more people in this. I mean, it's fine. Whoever's buying tickets is buying tickets. But there's a lot of us who would wind up enjoying this. We just don't feel invited. And if I'm saying that as again, straight white American guy, then, oh my God, the number of people who have to feel disenfranchised in any number of ways. You try to put on your empathy hat there and go, wow, well, we should all have such problems as not feeling invited to the opera. But I think in any context where we can think about, what does it feel for this other person if what we're experiencing is so good, somebody else isn't experiencing it or isn't showing up? Is it because they're stupid? Is it because they hate us? Is it because we're smarter? Or do they not feel welcome? Or have we not opened the door? Yeah, what are we doing to invite them in? And Mark, that's where I think the good behavior comes in. What do you think, Mark?
No, that was it. It's just, it's not, are they stupid or are they this or are they that? It's, well, what are we doing? Because we're the ones who are either welcoming them in or not. That's how that struck me. But can I give you a different take too on your quote?
Yeah, please.
My take on it was, listen to this situation. Talk to this situation we're in. Listen to this situation. What is it teaching us? How will it make us be better? How will it make us, be new? That's how I heard the thing the first time I heard it.
That's great, though. I love it.
That's that improvise the scene you're in, not the scene you wish you were in, right? Is that kind of along those?
Yes, like you had said before.
Yeah. That opportunity to be present, which is really exciting.
I think it's
Jackie and I are watching The West Wing because we just need to be reminded that smart, wonderful people can work in government. And I think it's in the second season. There's a line of something about something the president has said that they're worried it's going to have something. He doesn't like green beans, and the people in Oregon are going to be upset because they make a lot of green beans there. And just make sure you don't say anything like that. And the guy who has let that quote out said, I've been to Oregon 4 times since I started working here. I haven't met anybody stupid. And the response is, everybody's stupid in an election year. And he says, no, everybody gets treated stupid in an election year.
Yep.
And that's not just election. It's when messages have to get told and you tell them with a sense of fear or anxiety, then it's possible to get to be a lot less effective and warm and invitational. If you're marketing anything out of fear that people won't come, or that this is something that people by and large aren't that interested in, but I got to somehow get them to come, then you're either having a bad day or you're in the wrong job. I feel there's a necessity to, if not actually fall in love, to be able to improvise as if you're in love, right? Because this is stuff that really matters. If you're going to invite people into an experience if you really think that if you're going to say this is going to change your life, then some part of you either has to believe it or be willing to suspend your disbelief to see how someone else would buy that. Right? Mm-hmm. This is life-changing stuff. My world, I was a kid when I first went to the opera. My dad took us because he wanted to be able to say he'd taken his kids to see Beverly Sills and John Alexander and Roberto Devereux, fully expecting to leave at the first intermission. And we would not leave. And it's not because it was I didn't even realize that it was not a major opera in the canon. This was amazing. I didn't know who Beverly Sills was. I didn't know who John Alexander was. It was just fucking cool. Mm-hmm. It was mind-blowing. There's no way you're going to get me out of here. This is as cool as Star Trek and the Cincinnati Reds, and I want more. And when I always wanted people to talk to me like that this is amazing. Of course it's amazing. Come here and get your mind blown, as opposed to, if you experience this place that I'm already at, can you hear me down there? If you can experience this, then I already don't like you. And it doesn't matter if this thing is cool. You invited me and you're a jerk. So yeah, or I think sometimes you can feel the artificiality of it because you see enough ads of a certain kind and it's just insert a different picture, insert a different title. How thoughtful have you been? If you're not putting any new thought into this, then why am I supposed to? I got 50,000 options right now, which doesn't mean my attention span's short. It just means I still only have 24 hours in a day, right? This is about content and the content provider and the empathy with which we're delivering it, not that person's too stupid or they have an attention span. Maybe I just need to make better content. Maybe I need to send out a better invitation. If nothing else, that's the stuff I can control. And if I just focus on that, I think good things will happen.
Mark, last word.
The teaching equivalent of that is the pithy statement, which is, if the students are off task, the first question is, what's the task?
That's a good approach too.
It's way more succinct than me. I love that, Mark.
Well, this is exactly what I want these little last call segments to be, which they're short, they're sweet, and it's got me jazzed up and energized. It's the real recording time right here. It's 8:31 p.m. Central Time, and these two gentlemen have been kind enough to spend their evenings sitting here talking to us. And I'm more enthusiastic and energetic than I was this morning when I started work.
I feel the same way. And I think it's worth noting this. When I remember vividly my first conversations with each of you, they lasted several hours. And it's not because we knew each other. We didn't know each other at all. And it's not because we had an agenda that kept us together. It's because we started talking about, we were connected through stuff, through music and through theater, by which, once you've surrendered to that, there's almost nothing you can't talk about. I got to be that lucky guy that introduced you to. Mm-hmm. Why? Mm-hmm. Because we shared an evening going to see Paul Reiser. Yeah. Is he just a stand-up comedian, or is he a brilliant, kind of warm, wonderful, brilliant, warm, invitational storyteller? And so our connections are all about storytelling, story listening, and because we entered into our relationships through the doors we entered, I walked out of my first conversations with each of you going, wow, I got a new brother here. I got a new best pal. This is amazing. I think that's the invitation that I hope everyone working in the arts accepts. We already have we have the wind at our backs. This is the stuff that we stay alive for, right? Yeah. Isn't it that Dead Poets Society, like, music or medicine and law and business, these are noble professions and necessary to sustain life, but the arts are what we stay alive for. And so when we're doing that, if we surrender to that bigger idea, then of course we're going to be best pals. And that's a lovely thing that I think everybody who goes to the opera or theater they want that. They want to leave feeling like they've got this new favorite thing. And I hope we all accept this moment as an invitation to explore that as deeply and impactfully as possible.
Thanks for bringing us together again, Drew.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. And I was just going to say, I guess I lied. Mark, you didn't get the last word. Scott, you got the last word.
Mark, what do you think? No, I apologize about that. It just occurred to me as we were talking, remembering my first conversation, my first conversations with you guys and feeling, I just came off a miserable month of a lot of health issues. And I remember about 2 hours ago saying to Jackie, boy, I hope I have enough energy to get through. I don't want to let Drew and Mark down. I just, in my head, on my own, I didn't have the energy, and then we started talking and I'm like, it's 8:30. So this is intermission, right? We're going to go for another hour and a half. This is like this energetic life force that comes in. And I know that's got to feel hard for people to perceive, especially when institutions face existential threats. But I think everybody listening to this has an opportunity to tap into that. And yeah, please come in. The water's great.
Yeah. The existential threats when you don't listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you're in real trouble. Well, on that, we are going to leave it there. That's it. That's an excellent place to end things. So again, thank you both very much, gentlemen, for taking your time out now. And hopefully everyone got as much out of it as we did.
I really enjoyed it.
This was great. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.